All right, now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin to $1 million. Jan 3's Samson Mow offers 6 catalysts for this price target to happen. So let's break it down and shout out Samson Mow doing big things for Bitcoin adoption around the world. So yeah, sounds wild to the average person, but Samson has mapped out 6 ways it can really happen. No fluff, just key factors that can send the Bitty price soaring fast towards 6 zeros. The renowned Bitcoin bull calls them the 6 paths to the Omega. For those that don't know, the Omega candle in play, which is something he coined himself. First up, supply shock with the logic that if institutional players like MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, and ETF issuers such as the BlackRock keep buying aggressively, which they will, that's a guarantee, brother, available Bitcoin dries up. And right now we have the least amount of Bitcoin available on the exchanges we have ever seen. And just at the current pace, we will have a supply shock, I think, in the year 2027. But if we accelerate, which is to be anticipated, in my opinion, obviously, we can have that supply shock sooner than later, sending Bitcoin to 7 figures sooner than later. So keep that in mind. Simple supply and demand. Price goes up when you have very limited supply and high demand. And that's what we're witnessing with the institutional FOMO like a MOVO. Then there's the idea of the strategic Bitcoin reserve at the state level, which is occurring in real time. Governments holding Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Not impossible with the talks and speculations already taking place. I mean, every day in the news, another state proposing adopting Bitcoin some way, somehow. I mean, today we were talking Michigan, the other day Texas, there's Wyoming, there's Florida. There's now like 29 states looking to embrace the Bitty. And what if the U.S. jumps in and establishes its own strategic Bitcoin reserve, as Cynthia Lummis proposes in her bill, in which Trump, he's trying to stockpile the Bitty for the country. And he also said he wanted to make America the Bitcoin mining hub of the world. What if they were to sign that bill for the strategic Bitcoin reserve and purchase, let's say, 1 million Bitcoin over the course of the next 5 years? There's roughly a 200,000 Bitcoin purchase per year. That's the game theory. That, my friend, is the hash war, in which the global hash war, in which Max Kaiser coined many years back. That would be a seismic shift, to say the least. And that's how you get to targets such as JV's 1.1 million bull scenario for 2025. That's how you get to targets like Max Kaiser's 2.2 million target for this cycle peak. And that's how you get to Samson Mow's $1 million target. I mean, it can happen, family. A complete rebasing of the US dollar to Satoshis could occur. Redefining value measurement itself, sure, it sounds crazy, but big changes can happen when systems reach their limits. 6 paths to Omega. Supply shock from MSTR and ETF buying. State level strategic Bitcoin reserves. U.S. federal strategic Bitcoin reserve. Rebasing of the U.S. dollar to Satoshis. And as you know, 1 Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million Satoshis. So by the time a Satoshi is valued at $1, we're talking $100 million per Bitty. Also, the nation state FOMO. Besides the nation state FOMO, we have the state FOMO, demonetization of gold to acquire Bitcoin. That was a proposal Saylor made. He said, you know, if the United States and other countries were to ultimately change out their gold reserves for Bitcoin, it would crash gold collectively, and the Bitcoin market cap would soar, surpassing that of gold. And then they would have a lot of power if they chose to do that. So you could only imagine. Also, we had Bukele announce a few weeks back that he believes the country of El Salvador is sitting on roughly $3 trillion worth of gold. What do you think they will likely do with the gold when they discover it and mine it? They're going to trade it for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's overtaking gold. And quoting Max Kaiser, gold is the poor man's Bitcoin. Poor Peter Schiffmeister. But yeah, so nation state FOMO is another factor. Countries might suddenly feel the pressure to stack the Bitty, the global hash wars, the game theory, not wanting to be left behind. And according to Mao, if one major economy like that, of the very same of the United States, makes the leap, others could try to catch up. Nobody wants to be last, hence the game theory. Then there is the gold angle. Governments and institutions shifting from the traditional safe haven into Bitcoin. I mean, it's perfect money. It's pristine collateral. If gold starts losing its monetary role in favor of Bitcoin, it could mean a massive liquidity shift. And I think that could likely happen. Who wants the precious metal gold where they can continue to find more and more? Gold has what I would define as relative scarcity. Bitcoin, true scarcity. There's a hard cap limited supply, hard coded into the protocol. 21 million, right? There's only so much to go around. What if 5-6 million lost, gone forever? What does that give us? Like 15 million Bitcoin? And how many millionaires are there in the world? Like over 40,000. How many billionaires are there in the world? And eventually all the billionaires will have the Bitcoin if they don't already. But Mao is not just throwing ideas around. He has made major predictions before. Bitcoin to $1 million in 2025 is amongst the loudest. Let me know, what do you think the probability of Bitcoin reaching $1 million this year in 2025? Holla. And 3 more countries adopting crypto strategies. He sees that happening too. You know, Samson's at the forefront for Bitcoin adoption at the nation state level. That's what he does. He goes around countries orange pilling presidents and such, governments. If one of these 6 triggers fires, Bitcoin can see various movement. Is it possible to see more than one at the same time? Well, absolutely. Anything can happen. That is where the Omega candle comes from. And for those that don't know, it's defined as a $100,000 surge on the daily chart, which would mean, for example, if we got an Omega candle hypothetically tomorrow, the Bitcoin price would be 197,000. We'd have a move up of 100 G's. So you let me know your thoughts with Samson Mow's projections and the 6 catalysts that'll likely send Bitcoin parabolic to 7 figures per biddy. Holla at your boy. The Oracle says we will see $1 per sat soon. If BlackRock gets out of the way, we'd be there even sooner. Meaning if they're not manipulating the markets, because clearly they're purchasing mass amounts of Bitcoin. They now have over 500,000 Bitcoin. They have more Bitcoin than Strategy B. But nonetheless, there's always manipulation involved because they rather suppress the price to buy more of the biddy. So completely understand. Yeah, I mean, 100,000 surge in a single move would set the market on fire. Precisely. Imagine just waking up. How many years did it take Bitcoin from the inception of the Genesis block to go from 0 to 100,000? Something like 15 years. Ballpark, right? So what if it did what it took 15 years to achieve in one day? That's what we're talking about with the Omega candle. One day movement that took 15 years previously in 24 hours. The Omega candle. 58 million millionaires worldwide. Thank you for the insights. Approximately 15 million Bitcoin total after the lost coins. That's my guesstimation as well. There's probably only ever going to be 15 million circulating Bitcoin out there. And BlackRock probably owns close to 1 million already. Michael Saylor already has 500,000. Yeah, I mean, some of the mega whales already hold a lot of the supply. And now you have nations adopting the Bitcoin. Crazy. Sovereign wealth funds. You got pension funds. You got like firefighters and police, as we discussed yesterday. All the smart money is going to move into Bitcoin. So I could see an Omega candle occurring. When? Your guess is as good as mine. You know what I mean? Time will tell.